The college football experience, South Alabama Jaguars 2024 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. They just introduced college football best ball, folks. So hop on over there. Once again, promo code TCESGPN to score up $1,000 in bonus cash over at Underdog Fantasy. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Mike Leach, head football coach at Mississippi State, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. South Alabama Jaguars 2023 season preview. 24. Jeez, I can't even talk. YouTube.com/the college experience. 24. It's a new year. I've been banging out shows left and right, and we're continuing on this journey of breaking down all 134 teams in the land with a solo podcast for each and every team. And obviously, it's a pivotal year for the Jaguars because it's a dawn of a new day with their new head coach coming in, Major Applewhite, who I might have been overheard screaming at bars, 20 years ago, saying he should start over Chris Sims. Chris Sims is only starting because his dad's a pussy. No, something like that. But no, Major Applewhite was better than Chris Sims, for the record. All right, I don't want to hear it. All right, he was better than Chris Sims, and excited to talk about this team and to talk about the Sun Belt, which I think is such an interesting year in the Sun Belt this year. I know we've been hitting on all these other previews. All the other Sun Belt previews are out with the exception of ULM right now. So get on over there and listen to them, as well as all. Basically, we're at like 117 previews in right now out of 134. So get on over there, check it all out, folks. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, that's fair. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
Let's go. Love me some South Alabama. Look, I'm a big fan of all these schools that just went all in on starting a football program. All right. You know, that's where my heart is. George Mason, take notes, you filthy whores. Vermont, take notes. I could go Long Beach State. What are we doing? All right. There's a lot, but Wichita State, I mean, come on. But South Alabama did it, and they're proof that this is a genius thing, this college football thing that we got going here. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former video coordinator for Hall of Fame coach Bob Huggins and Frank Martin. He is also the host of the Big 12 College Experience, as well as the host of the Ryan and Rush Show and the College Basketball Experience. He's having coaching interviews left and right over there. Give it up for Ryan McIntyre, aka Money Line Mac. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. We were just talking a little Fun Belt basketball today, so I thought I'd get on over here. Let's talk some Sun Belt Fun Belt on the gridiron.
Let's go.
Mac tonight. Come on, make it Mac tonight.
And yes, I mean, Mobile, Alabama. Where are we at with this? Major Applewhite was a head coach before. Once again, youtube.com/the college experience. He was a head coach of the Houston Cougars for a couple years, 2 bowl seasons. The problem was he was following Tom Herman, who was like going 13-1. He was 15-11 in 2 years as a head coach of Houston. Obviously played quarterback for Mac Brown and the Texas Longhorns. Coached under Mac Brown, Greg Robinson, Todd Graham, Nick Saban, Tom Herman, and Kay Womack. I mean, it's hell of a resume there. But the last stint, I know the first thing that comes to mind for me was that Army put up 70 points on Major Applewhite, and Patty C's theory of Texas schools not knowing what to do with triple option teams only convinced me more after that game. I was like, holy shit. But that's the last time I think he coached at Houston, if memory serves me correct. Everyone deserves a mulligan. If you look at Mac Brown, who won national championships, I believe when Mac Brown was at Tulane, he had a losing record, and he might have even had a losing record at Appalachian State as a head coach way back in the day. So sometimes that does, sometimes it takes a while. You keep retaining information, retaining knowledge, getting smarter as a human being, and maybe this is the right fit. What do you make of this hire?
Yeah, I think you make good points, especially because he was a head coach. He had a lot of success as a coordinator with Herman at such a young age. I mean, he was a head coach in his late 30s, and maybe it didn't work out as well with Houston, although he did go 7-5, 8-5, and that's basically what Dana was able to do in that league outside of 1 year. But he goes to the Nick Saban after head coaching school where everybody gets cured, as they like to say, and then he goes. Now he's back in South Alabama. So I kind of think he's going to be a better head coach the second time around.
I think so too. I mean, sometimes first off, I feel like he's like my age.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think about. Actually, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like I was watching him in high school, but at the same time, like, he's not much older than me. So, like, the first time you were a head coach, what was that? 7-8 years ago.
16 to 18. So he was 38. Yep.
Yeah, you're still doing Jaeger bombs in the parking lot then. You know what I mean? Maybe at 40, maybe at 45 too. I don't know. But his offense coordinator is Rob Ezel. His DC is Will Windham, or Windham. It's going to be intriguing because you know what I love about this program? It reminds me of doing UTSA. It reminds me of doing Charlotte. I'm trying to think of the other team, but these schools that just up and started their football program. This has been one that, they went to a couple like dark years really when they first jumped to the FBS, but they went 6-6 in 2013, 6-7 in 2014, 6-7 in 2016. They're getting to bowl games. And then most recently they really broke through 10-3 and 7-6 last season. And that's where I sit there and say, this is fantastic. And I think like the sky's the limit now. Obviously, you're in the same state as Auburn and Alabama, but at the same time, like just in general, the amount of talent down there's no reason to think that you shouldn't be a bowl team. And now with a 12-team playoff, we can be in the mix to go to the playoffs and then build on that. And I think that's where you're saying it's a success story for a team to start up like that. A lot of people say, well, you start up, but you're going to be in the, the FCS. You're not going to be able to get up to the Power 5, and then you'll be a doormat. Well, I'm looking at something that this was started a few years ago. This program, not that old. And had we had the 12-team playoff just a couple years ago, we didn't have it, but I'm saying in 2022, they were 10-3. They would have knocking on the fucking door of that playoff. Now they wouldn't have got in based on that year more than likely, but still the point is when you're that young, you're right there. And I think that's where you could say this is a success story and we should be in the mix to win Sun Belt championships, AKA compete for the 12-team playoff. Would you agree?
Completely agree. I mean, just look at Texas State with GJ Kenny. I mean, he goes 8-5 after they were a complete dumpster fire. And now we're talking about them as maybe outside of Liberty, the front runner to get that G5 spot. So you can flip it, especially being down there in Mobile, Alabama, beautiful campus right on the water. I mean, they could get Power 5 guys coming down a level for kind of their final year, or they could just build it through the high school ranks. So a lot of different ways to get talent down there, but it helps to be in the South for sure.
Yeah, especially sandwiched between Mississippi, Louisiana, and Florida, and even Georgia, right? Let's take a look. Look, they, like I said, they've only had a program. They start, but just so you know, folks, they started the program in 2009, but they weren't even FBS until 2012. So this is literally their the 14th season in the I can't even count, 12th season in the FBS. So I sound like Biden over here when he said like $100 bajillion. They've scored a couple big time wins though. Now there's this is a nice resume considering you've only been a program in the FBS for that little of time. They won at Mississippi State, Stark Vegas 21-20, back with Joey Jones. And then last season, holy hell, the mullet got absolutely destroyed in Stillwater, 33-7 to South Alabama. I think that has to be the one, even though you would think the regionality of the Mississippi State one would mean, but just the way you dominated at a team that ended up playing for the Big 12 championship. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And they basically got Oklahoma State's season on track after going into Stillwater and just completely kicking their ass for 4 quarters. It's still the mysterious Gundy game where he decided to play all 3 quarterbacks despite getting his teeth kicked in by South Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, I would understand that more in the 12-team format. In the 4-team format, I want someone to explain that to me. Did he think the 12-team was a year early? Perhaps, I don't know. But either way, what an ass whooping and what a win for South Alabama to go win at their place in a bye game. Gonna talk more on that in a minute, but I want to tell you folks out there that the College Football Experience is part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. And look, everything in the merch store right now is 10% off with the promo code football. You can get yourself an Eat Shit Pit t-shirt. All right. If you love the Ryan and Rush show, what Mac is pushing out there, an Eat Shit Pit t-shirt, perfect for really any time of year, right? Depending on, unless you're spending time in the city of Pittsburgh, which even that, I feel like, but it's a nice shirt. It's got a nice ring to it. People ask you about it at the bars, you know what I mean? So girls will say, Eat Shit Pit. And then it's a great segue to be able to have a conversation. You can also get a Pick Dundee t-shirt. Now that one does wonders at the bowling alley. Let me tell you right there. Oh, Linda will show that interest that you've been trying to get her attention for weeks. No, she's not paying any attention. Right? She's sitting over there eating her fucking curly fries. Right? Bowling strikes. And you look. All you need to do is put on a little Pick Dundee t-shirt. It's going to give you that confidence. Got to be a new one though. You can't pull out the old one from the closet. All right. So get on over to the merch store. 10% off everything with the promo code football. There's also a lot of other cool shirts. I mean, we got the Mike Leach one. Rest in peace to my guy, Mike Leach. Plus folks, college football kicks off in 1 week, as in this week. This is the lead up here. Tune into the Sports Gambling Podcast and the College Football Experience for Week 0 picks and all your favorite futures. Let's go. All right, taking a look now at the offense a season ago. 27th in the nation in scoring per game, 33.1 points per game, 4th best in the Sun Belt. Once again, highly recommend watching this. YouTube.com/the college experience. 24th in yards, 440.2 yards per game, 3rd best in the Sun Belt. 32nd in passing, 5th best in the Sun Belt, and 48th in rushing. They were top 50 in every statistical offensive category. That was all top 5 in the Sun Belt. Pretty impressive stuff, right?
Yeah, and it's another note. Applewhite was the offensive coordinator. I don't know if we said that. So yes, this was his offense, his blueprint all over this. So yeah, they were explosive offensively last year,
and balanced too. It's like very. And I think I know their rivals Troy, and we'll get to them. We just dropped our Troy preview. Go listen to that. A battle for the belt, that rivalry. But I am more weary on Troy because of the lack of coaching continuity. They went off, the reservation to bring in Gerard Parker, and I just well, this one, it's like you have guys that are going to be familiar with your offense that were they might not have been starters, but they were there practicing with Major Applewhite, which has me a little more weary to believe, or not weary, a little more,
Optimistic.
yeah, I can't talk after do this many. I just can't talk anymore. My wife asked me a question today. I just couldn't answer it.
CTE.
Started talking about RoboCop 2. Yeah. Anyway, look, I want to talk more about this offense and what they're returning, what they're bringing in from the transfer portal and what lost. But I do want to also tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Fantasy Pick'em will give you a chance to win 1,000 times your entry, or play fantasy football the right way with Best Ball. Shout out to that. We got college football Best Ball. Yes, Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. I've been waiting for college football Best Ball for like 20 years. Mac and NC Nick dropped an episode with the Best Ball draft on this very platform. Go listen to it. You can now use specials and boost on all flexed entries. And I know you scumbags out there are playing it. All right, I get DMs all the time saying, "Do you think I should grab this guy or this guy?" So get on over there. You're playing fantasy football. Yeah, is my point. You're not playing best ball, but you should be playing best ball. So get on over there, sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. There's nothing quite like the Circa in Las Vegas. Get yourself out there. Derek Stevens doing a hell of a good job, just making heaven on earth in a way. If you don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet for football season, this weekend, the ultimate contest weekend is happening. It's a great time to go out. My pals, Real Money Kramer and Shot Stacking the Money Green and CJ Sullivan, the Bet Detective, will all be there. Sports Gambling Podcast in the house, and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sports book in the world, August 22nd through August 24th. And look, if you need a little handout, promo code SGP15 will save you 15% off your hotel room during that weekend. Sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with a proxy. Go to proxy.footballcontest.com to save you $50 with the promo code SGP. They're going to give you a free hat. Who doesn't want a free hat? Get on over there. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride. All right, back talking South Alabama football. Shout out to Suda Kane, who's saying Applewhite for president.
There you go.
There we go. And Timothy Reed say they take a step up this year. This is the year. Yeah, the offense, very impressive numbers a year ago. The only problem is you only bring back 4 starters. 2 wideouts though, Javon Ivory and Jamal Pritchett back, and 2 on the offensive line and Reed Buys and Jordan Davis. How concerned are you with 4 starters back and a brand new head coach?
Definitely reason for concerns, but I will say they have a lot of guys that were in their program that it looks like are stepping into new roles. So kind of like Applewhite going from offensive coordinator to head coach. I still am optimistic about this offense and just the design of it.
Yeah. They did lose Colin Lacey, who's a stud, who actually just broke his collarbone. He's out. That was a tough loss for Louisville. If you have a Louisville future like me, that was bad news to wake up to the other morning. Broken collarbone. I think that you're out for a good amount of time there. Maybe the whole
almost
season.
A year.
Yeah. They also lost. This guy's name is great, Caleb Schlatcher, to the portal. Great name. He's going to land on his feet. Don't worry, and dominate life. Offensive tackle Aiden Strickland, James Robinson at the O-line spot, and Dante Lucas going in conference to Southern Miss. Will Hall saying, "Hey, there's blood in the water down there in Mobile. Come over to Hattiesburg." They didn't really get hit that bad, man. I mean, they got hit worse by graduation than they did in the portal.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, they didn't really get hit that hard, like you said. It's kind of they got guys in the program that are going to step into new roles, and we'll see how they match. But I kind of trust Applewhite from an offensive standpoint, his time at Texas and Alabama, to script things up and get guys open.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the offense will probably be. Now they are planning on starting Gio Lopez, a redshirt freshman quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
that he got one start. He got one start already. So I guess you could technically say he could be a returning starter, even though I would not have it as that. Shout out to the chat. I'm going to try to answer this a little off topic. And James S., longtime listener, appreciate you, James. He's trying to find a line for Texas State versus Lamar as of right now. Well, I can tell you this, buddy. We still have to talk South Alabama football, but I'm gonna hook you up, I think.
A lot of the FCS lines also don't drop till like right before.
Yeah, but I got them all because if you're connected like old Pick Dundee here, I am seeing this. Where's this? There's a lot of FCS, FBS games. Where the hell is this line?
It's going to be a lot. I can tell you that with Texas State.
There's just a ton of these games. For, I am seeing it as Texas State minus 39. So,
ooh.
Yes, 39 points right now. So, and that's behind the scenes. I don't think they've released that, but trust me, after I've been doing this for a long time, and I get these lines from the people that we have worked with over the years that make these lines. And this is one specific sports book that I since they're not currently our sponsor, I'm not going to throw it out there right now, and I don't want to throw them under the bus. But 39 is what I'm seeing. The offense, though, obviously, didn't get hit in the portal as much as I thought. And
hey, I will say,
what's that?
Real quick, I will say Lopez, to his credit, looked really good in the bowl game. I know Eastern Michigan didn't have anybody, but hey, 14-19, 3 touchdowns, no picks. It's a good start.
Yeah, it really is. Win a bowl game. You got. Even though it was technically a home game, they played on their own home campus, which is crazy. Yep. They go out in the portal. They bring in running back Iverson Celestine from Tulane. I like this get. Now, I still think Braylon McReynolds is going to be the guy that starts for them at the running back spot, but I do expect to see Celestine maybe get some carries throughout the season here. Noah Toster coming in from Chowan, deep diving. At the wide receiver spot, also Michael Woods from Buffalo. I don't believe any of those are projected to start. Tight end Andrew Bench comes in from Bowling Green. I don't believe he's projected to start, but adding depth is key there. And then on the offensive line, Jaden Hobson from Mississippi State, Ethan Hubbard from Duke. I thought Mike Elko was such a great, really great at evaluating talent there. Now with that, I don't know that any of these guys are definitely going to start. I know Hubbard's a guy they like, but Malachi Prasado from Purdue is one that is projected to start. That's coming in. So I'm going to say they won the portal on the offensive side of the ball, bringing in, some depth at the receiver position. I like the Celestine get, and then on the O line, I like those guys.
Yeah. So they got 3 high majors on the offensive line. So bulking up to keep Lopez healthy. And then I do like the Celestine addition from Tulane. I thought he popped when he got an opportunity. So I would say that they were additions in the green for the portal on the offensive side. That is,
I would agree, and I know Lopez, we've only seen him start one game, but Bishop Davenport is behind him. I know they're somewhat bullish on both of those QBs. So. Let's take a look at the defensive side of the ball. Now, this was Kane Womack's specialty. He was a DC at Indiana previously and had done such a good job there with Kalen DeBoer when they were on the staff at Indiana. So when DeBoer got the job at Alabama, he calls up Womack and says, "Here's a shit ton of money to not coach South Alabama and go back to being a DC." But they were good. 26th in the nation scoring per game. Third best in the Sun Belt, 15th in yards, which is second best in the Sun Belt, 28th in pass defense, second best in the Sun Belt, and 19th in rush defense, third best in the Sun Belt. Now, this is where you wonder, will Wyndham be able to keep that up? Because to me, looking back at Applewhite's first tenure at Houston, the offense was fine. It was the defense that really fell off the cliff. So, to me, this is the thing we circle, I think, most coming into this season, even with the lack of experience at the quarterback spot. Those numbers are fantastic, but how much weight can you put into this season with those numbers, Mac?
Not much, because like you said, the guy that was really the horse for the defense is now calling plays at Alabama. He pulled a Chip Kelly. He said, "I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done with this NIL negotiation. I'm just going to go call ball plays on the defensive side at Alabama or Ohio State with Chip Kelly." So it'll be a transition defensively. Definitely more optimistic on the offensive side of the ball compared to defense.
Yeah, they only got 3 starters back on the defensive side of the ball. Wycavius Thomas on the D line and Ricky Fletcher at the corner spot and Jaden Viason, who's a stud at the safety spot. That is something that is great. You know, he was first team all Sunbelt a year ago. I remember doing the preview a year ago and raving about him. If you watch some of the tape, I think it's very impressive. Or he's very impressive. So that's key to me, is getting him back, even though you'd like to have more in the D line, maybe even in the linebacking core. But, you know, the portal gives, the portal takes, and the portal did take. Khalil Jacobs, what you were hoping for, he headed out to the SEC in the Missouri Tigers. Cornerback Marquise Robinson also headed out to the SEC in the Arkansas Razorbacks, and Yam Banks there, a safety, headed out to Ole Miss. They lost some other players too, but that's where it gets a little tricky, man. Is like they took some major hits on the defensive side of the ball. Agreed?
Yeah, they got kind of rated a little bit on this side of the ball. I mean, they got guys transferring to Missouri, Arkansas, Ole Miss, guys that contributed a lot to this defense last year.
Yeah, I mean, and even like Austin P and Rhode Island are good FCS teams. So it's like that depth. Not that those guys are high impact players, but if you ever have to in an unknown year, you'd kind of even like to have that back. They did go out and try to address it the best they could. I think, you know, bringing in Trey Brown on the D line from Texas Tech, Bryson Dixon from Georgia Tech, Courtney McBride from FAU. And then Akil Washington comes in from the Flamin' Libs of Liberty, and Darius McKenzie from the Maine Black Bears. So they're scouting some FCS, and then Ladarius Webb, who is coming over. Oklahoma State beat them so bad. I'm sorry, they beat Oklahoma State so bad that he's like, you know what, I'm done with this shit in Stillwater. Let me go to Mobile. But no, his cousin is a famous player that was a wideout for them a few years ago. That was a stud. So I think that's the connection. Also, Trent Singleton, a safety, comes in from Mississippi State, and then kicker Laith Marjan. You're funny. Enjoy as he leaves East Carolina to come in there, and he is projected to start, by the way. But even on the defensive side of the ball, I don't know. Like, I think they did a good job responding, but I'm still going to say they lost the portal on the defensive side of the ball.
I would tend to agree. I think that this has a chance to mesh, but I think it's a lot of question marks. You can make the case for why it could, but you could also see why it couldn't, especially with Womack going to Alabama. I liked Webb. I like the Webb addition from Oklahoma State a lot.
Yeah, I did too. And if one of those defensive linemen can just hit, I think that's, you know, maybe even more than one, but that's an area that jumps out as a glaring weakness right now. But look, the win total set at 6.5 wins. Are you surprised at that number considering all the turnover?
No, because I feel like for a team that's solid with a new head coach, it kind of is a coward number in my opinion. Just throw it at 6.5. If they're average or a bold team, if not, they hit the over. So, were you surprised?
I was hoping. So I just did the Troy preview, and I made these graphics for both, and I was hoping it would be at 5.5 because I'm more encouraged with the continuity within the coaching staffs here than at Troy. I was trying to find the price. Yeah. So the overs -150, the unders at +125. Vegas basically saying that 7-5 is more likely than 5-7. So, all right. They're +850 to win the Sun Belt. They're +2,500 to make the 12-team playoff. And they're +100,000 to win the national championship. Yeah, I mean, look, I know we're going to go game by game on the schedule here, but I just think this is such an interesting conference. I do think the Sun Belt is down right now as a conference, and I love the Sun Belt. But when I look around and see one of your MVPs or best players over the past couple of years, Grayson McCall leaves. Coastal's more of a question mark. You're also another year removed from Jamie Chadwell, where I feel like with very good coaches, the first year after doesn't normally mean everything falls apart, especially if you have Grayson McCall, the former MVP of the league. Now we get to see it's a little more uncertainty there in Myrtle Beach than before. Then you look around and JMU lost everybody. I mean, I like Bob Chesney. I like the coaching hire, but they lost everybody. Then you look down and you say, well, okay, who else? ULM, Terry Bowden, gone, right? They're now a team bringing in a shit ton of JUCO transfers. I'm a little confused on how successful they'll be. You look around and see Troy, coaching change. Georgia State, coaching change. Very late in the offseason too. And then South Alabama. So I'm like, hey, well, someone can capitalize here. I know we're bullish on App State. I know we're bullish on Texas State, but someone is going to be in a spot to grab wins that we don't know. And then you add in the hot seat factor, where Clay Helton could be fired midseason or towards the end of the season. Michael Desmarais at Louisiana could be fired. Butch Jones could be fired these guys need to win this year. So they're in Will Hall at Southern Miss. So could it be a good spot to be a first year head coach? It might be. I want to go game by game on the schedule here, but before I do that, I want to tell you that the College Football Experience South Alabama preview is brought to you by Rhythm. Football season's here, and college football and NFL models are now live on Rhythm. Create your own winning betting model or let Rhythm do the heavy lifting for you. You decide what stats matter most to you, and Rhythm will build a custom model around that, or just let Rhythm and its predictive model do the heavy lifting for you. Rhythm uses AI projections from MIT data scientists and quants. Rhythm already has you covered for NFL Week 1 and college football Week 0. I'm on those Yellow Jackets plus the points there against Florida State. I think they're going to give them a game. So get on over there. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Yes, Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of the MLB, which makes getting tickets even faster and even easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch, with killer last minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying those tickets. All right, you go into a Braves game or a Devil Rays game or whatever. Right, take the guesswork out of it, and it's not just MLB, to tell you the truth. If you're going to catch a South Alabama game, right? First off, their stadium is awesome. Check out the Stadium Heads podcast where we talk about the history of college football stadiums. But that's a great stadium, and it's a new stadium, and it's phenomenal. So maybe you haven't been to the new stadium. You say, hey, I got to get out there and go. Well, pull out the Game Time app. If your favorite band is coming to town, right? Or David Blaine or whoever, they're coming to town and you want to check out the show, pull out that Game Time app. It's going to take good care of you. All right. Use the promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, terms apply. Create that account, redeeming code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Back talking college football, South Alabama college football. The chat, DB Cooper says, damn, Colby is down in LA and wearing a hoodie in August. That would kill me. Well, dude, backstory here. The studio. Well, first off, like, I have a newborn. So you get sick more. I'm not sick now, but I'm saying I definitely feel fucking exhausted though. Right. From the team previews, which I love to do, not complaining, but I'm saying I don't get normal sleep anymore, man. So you mix that, and then I'm in the studio today, and these motherfuckers keep the air condition at a very high level. The show before was no hoodie, but the shit gets cold. It gets cold in here. Anyway, South Alabama 6.5 wins. My first thought is give me the over on this.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Yeah, because week 1, 7 days a week. You're right, man. Dude, having a day off since Father's Day. Let's go. Week 1, they're home to North Texas, the Mean Green. I'm not very bullish on North Texas. I know our guy Rob Donaldson is. Shout out to Rob Donaldson. But I'm gonna take South Alabama to take care of home field, take down North Texas, and go 1-0. How about you?
This is a huge game kind of for the over-under. I'm not going to lie.
It is. Eric Morris, year 1, 5-7 season at North Texas. Can he get back into the mix and open up the season big? You know, but I think the home edge is everything here.
I'm gonna go with the road team to pull an upset, mini upset. It's not really an upset. I mean, it's I think looking over, it's a 5.5 point line. Give me North Texas week 1. Year 2 of Eric Morris to go in there and start off what they finished last year, winning their last 2.
Yeah. Then week 2, they're at Ohio, and by the way, me and NC Nick scheduled to preview the Ohio Bobcats at 9 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. So was doing a little bit of a deep dive on them today, building these slides for tomorrow's show. And I'll tell you this, man. But dude, they did a decent job.
Yeah.
I like Tim Albin as a coach. I think he's a good football coach. I know they got fucking depleted.
Yep.
Right? But if South Alabama beats North Texas and they're smelling their shit a little bit, I like this UCF quarterback they brought in a year ago, not this year, at Ohio. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, but I'll take South Alabama, but I don't have a lot of conviction in that, man. Peden Stadium, great fucking stadium, by the way, too, there in Athens, Ohio. I'll say South Alabama, but I don't feel that great about it. How about you?
If I say that they're going to drop the North Texas game, I'm going to give them this one. I got them 1-1 out of this first 2 games. This is an interesting first 2 games because they could be 2-0, they could be 0-2. It really neither outcome would surprise me at all. Yeah,
they could be 0-2. They could. They could be. I have them 2-0 because I think situationally, like I think they're a 5-point favorite against North Texas. I think they'll probably be a short favorite against Ohio. But week 3, the Demons of Northwestern State come to town. This is a Thursday night game, right? They put this one on Thursday night. I think it's one of the only Thursday night games. That's a win. 3-0. Really? Major Applewhite? Why do I feel like they're going to end up being 2-1? Navarro, you're right, Keith. Shout out to Keith Landry. Parker Navarro is his name. The quarterback that transferred in from UCF. I am excited to see him in that Tim Albin offense. I got him 3-0 though. But I feel like, why do I feel like I'm sitting there saying, Dundee, don't be a fucking idiot. But I got him 3-0. How about you?
I got them 2-1. And the reason this is a Thursday night game is because they're at App State the next week on Thursday night. Woo. Ouch.
They're not winning that. I can guarantee you that. Yes, I can guarantee you that. This is where, and by the way, shout out to their scheduling and shout out to the Sunbelt scheduling for giving them 3 weeks on the road. This is when your first year of coaching, Major Applewhite looks up and he goes, "What? I got to go 3 straight weeks at App State, followed by Baton Rouge? Holy shit!" They're going to get destroyed in both those games, dude. They'll be 3-2, and I'll be honest, they lose to Arkansas State just because the body blows of those 2 teams and the travel. I got them being 3-3 heading into that bye week on October 10th. So yeah, 3 straight away games at App State, at LSU, at Arkansas State, all bowl teams, all from a year ago. 3-3. How about you?
To add insult to injury, Arkansas State has a bye week before they play South Alabama. So they got to go get their dicks kicked in by LSU and Death Valley while they're sitting there resting. I got them losing all 3. So I got them 2-4, but then they reset at the bye. And I know you like to talk about first-year head coaches, and I agree with that angle. I think this is where they start finding their rhythm down the stretch. Yeah, and they're going to need to because we got the rivalry game here. Battle of the Belt.
Troy Trojans coming in. Trojan man. No, not Trojan man. They're going to get fucked up here. South Alabama knows. Major Applewhite knows. He's been a part of this program. They're going to get that dub against Troy. And I got them moving to 4-3. How about you?
Yep, I got it. They need this one. 3 losses. Bye. This is a get right game.
Yeah. Me and Keith see an eye to eye there. Then they're home to ULM. This is another win. ULM is a team that I think they're one of the 5 worst teams in the nation, probably, if you had to ask me. Just because you want to talk about moving parts. That's one that just they lost a lot. I know I got to do that preview tomorrow as well, but yeah, I think that's a win. I think it's a good stretch here. Now, here's a huge 50-50 game. I'm assuming you have them beating ULM, by the way.
I do. No Bowden, as Patty C would say. And
yeah.
Georgia Southern, like you said, big game. This is a back-to-back road spot for Georgia Southern coming in here.
And Georgia Southern, if you have not followed Georgia Southern under the Clay Helton regime, they have opened the season red fucking hot. But by late October, early November, I think they're 1-9 in their last. If you just took their final 5 games, both seasons that he's been there, 1-9 in his final 5 games. That's not including the bowl game either. So I'll lead South Bama. I mean, I do think Georgia Southern on paper is more talented to me than South Alabama, but I'll take South Alabama. Give me that 6th win. How about you?
Yep. I got this as a win as well.
Now, here's what's great about your schedule. If you should be rooting against. Really, you should be rooting against Georgia Southern, Louisiana, and Southern Miss because early in the year they could fire their coaches. You might not even be playing Clay Helton on November 2nd. There's a decent shot you're not playing Michael Desmarais at Louisiana on the 16th or Will Hall on the 23rd. Man, they could really break nice for them if that shit ends up happening. But I'm just gonna make a projection that both are going to actually coach the game. The reason why I say that is I am high on Southern Miss. The other one, Louisiana, he is a grad. He played quarterback for them. I think they'll be respectful on his exit. I do expect him to be fired after the season, but I think they'll be respectful. So I think they're going to get both coaches there. I have them losing. I have them losing to the Southern Miss one for sure. The Louisiana is the one where I wonder what. I still think I got to favor Louisiana though, man. I still think I favor Louisiana. Give me 2 losses. How about you?
So I got them coming out of the bye, continuing the momentum. They get it done in Louisiana. And I think for my scenario and your scenario, there's a path to get to the Sun Belt. And then they're thinking about the big Texas State game at the end. And then they drop the game in Hattiesburg on a double.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hattiesburg's one of the low key toughest or like the best crowd, I'll say. Like when you talk Sun Belt football, we know App is great, but I think one of the more underrated that nationally they don't realize is the Rock. The Rock gets lit there in Hattiesburg. And then they're home to Texas State on a Friday, Black Friday.
I feel like they're going to win this game.
I could see them. Could you imagine this? Texas State's about to make the 12-team playoff, and they go into Mobile,
and they spoil it for the over.
I could see it too.
For the over 7.
I'm with you. Here's my logic. They could beat Louisiana. Here's why I think you should take the over. Because if you're listening to this, I'm like, well, I'd favor Texas State, but they could get Texas State, who's never had that much pressure and been in a situation like that since they've been in the FBS. And then the fact that Helton could be fired, Desmarais could be fired, Hall could be fired, and then also maybe they get Arkansas State in that 3rd road game. You know what I mean? I lean over, but no lock here. How about you?
Yeah, I'm leaning that way, but kind of like what we do. Georgia Southern, you and I the other night, and I know you've done Troy and a bunch of these other Sun Belt teams. there's so many goddamn 50-50 games in this league. It's why it's the Fun Belt. So
yeah,
I lean
especially
over.
this year though, even
Yeah.
more so this year. Yeah. No lock here, but slightly into the over, which like I said, folks, there's the value would be on the under, right? What did I say it was? The over is sitting there at
minus 130 or whatever.
Yeah, and the under, I have this right in front of me. What
The
hell do I
under
do
was
with
plus
this?
money.
Yeah, the under's plus 125. So, there you go there. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'm kind of seeing eye to eye with Vegas, but fascinating season because they could surprise. Let me build me the best case scenario here. Best case scenario. Okay, what are the automatic losses here? App and LSU. Every other game is winnable. I mean, they could go 10-2. Best case scenario, 9-3, 10-2, I think. Worst case scenario, though, and this is where it gets tricky because if North Texas does bite them, like you say, I think Tim Albin's a good football coach. What if Ohio gets him, and they're sitting there at 1-5 to start the season?
Yeah. Before
that bye week, and then you have a rivalry game. You want to talk about pressure if you're 1-5, and then all of a sudden you got to play your rivals. It could be 1-6 then, and then okay, you get ULM 2-6, and then I mean, what's the floor? 3-9, 3-9. The floor.
I'd say 3-9 just because of all these 50-50 games. It is nice for them that they only have to play twice on the road after October 3rd. So that is a plus with the way the schedule sets up is they got 2 byes and they have 4 home games. So only have to make those 2 trips on November 16th and November 23rd. So they're at home from October 3rd all the way to November 16th.
Yeah, that is nice. That is nice.
Get your legs.
Shout out to the chat, Robert Martin. By the way, Robert, did you get our email? I want to know that. But also, Keith Landry says, question: if you're leaning to an over under on a win total, do you rather have a consistent offense or defense to rely on? That's a good question. I think it's situationally. Like yeah, I think it's situationally. Like I don't know that I think I'd be lying to you if I said. For sure, offense. I think I would trust the defense more. First off, if I had to answer this question, if I had to answer this question, I would trust the defensive team. But I do think, like you said, it kind of matters the conference too, because certain conferences, teams are going to put up points.
And the schedule, because if you like the defense, like in Iowa, and you get a bunch of soft teams like USC and UCLA coming to you at home. You can muck it up with your defense.
Yeah, it matters. It matters that, but schedules. I think schedules number one important for all of this stuff.
Yeah,
it's why I believe like I'm fascinated. I think this is the most interesting college football season in my lifetime because, excuse me, because you have this scenario of teams that there's no more divisions. You know what I mean? So like teams are gonna have to play much harder schedules. I know everyone emphasizes the Florida Gators schedule, which is very hard. I'm excited for that because I've thought for a lot of years certain teams would get the same easier schedule every single year, where now I almost feel like it's unavoidable. That's one of the only bonuses I feel like out of this conference realignment, where it's like, I mean, I would still rather have the Pac-12 if you asked me, but I do think it's very hard to avoid everything. You look at Michigan's schedule, even Georgia's schedule this year. There's a lot more games that I think you could trip up in. Whereas before I feel like it was constructed around, I feel like Iowa State and Arkansas would always get fucked by those schedules. Now I feel like when there's this many good teams in these conferences, it's very hard to now certain teams like Rutgers drew a great schedule this year. I think Ohio State's schedule is very favorable. Notre Dame's schedule is favorable, but I don't think they're going to be able to do that every single year because but I would say that's the difference is that you're looking for just the schedule. The schedule is huge. So, folks, we're both on the over with the South Alabama Jaguars. Let's go, Major Applewhite. Look, it's not often that I like Texas football players. You got what? Earl Campbell, Eric Metcalf, and Major Applewhite. I think those are the only Texas players. Maybe probably
Ricky
one or
Williams.
two. Yeah, Ricky Williams.
Yeah.
He's it's a good guy to hang out with, I'm sure. Right, smoking that weed. Yeah. Either way, I'm rooting for him, and I'm excited to see the season. Like I said, I think, and I know some people would probably find it boring. Like, the Sun Belt's kind of down this year. I think it's a great because you're going to see someone jump up. You're going to see someone jump up, and it's going to be a great story for them. And then can they build on that? Maybe it's South Alabama, like you said, that schedule. Besides the App State LSU stretch, every other game's winnable. Going to be fascinating, folks. We're both on the over. Make sure you check out Moneyline Mac's work. He's on Twitter, first off, Ryan McIntyre, on Twitter at Moneyline_Mac. He is the host of the College Basketball Experience with me, and he is killing it this offseason by doing all these coaching interviews. You got to go check these out. I mean, you know what I did when I was just a solo college basketball show? I was just like in the offseason, I'd be like, just picking my ass pretty much. Right. and now we're getting real coaches interviews. It's fantastic. Go check out the College Basketball Experience. Also check out the Big 12 Experience. Look, Alabama, you're sitting there in the SEC, your fans are Auburn in Alabama, and you're in the Sun Belt. You're in the AAC with UAB. You never know who's going to be next in the Big 12. Maybe it is South Alabama or something. Check out the Big 12 Experience. Also, check out the Ryan and Rush show that Mac is a part of. So do all that. Like I said, follow him on Twitter at Moneyline_Mac. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. Check out, you are checking out my show, the College Football Experience. 134 previews. Like I said, Ohio Bobcats tomorrow morning scheduled. We also have a college football show coming up next on the Sports Gambling Podcast where we're giving out our playoff projections. So hop on over there and listen to that. But also, I host the FCS College Football Experience. I'm a part of the College Basketball Experience with Moneyline Mac as well. And the College Baseball Experience with Noah Beanick doing the Lord's work there. Check out all of those. We come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/the College Experience. Also, check out the Stadium Heads podcast. Come on. We love is it Lad Peoples, I believe? Lad Peoples Stadium in Mobile, Alabama is fantastic. It's a new stadium. A lot of people just think we just like old stadiums because they're old. No, not the case. McLean Stadium with Baylor, awesome. South Alabama Stadium, awesome. Right? There are a lot of new stadiums that are fantastic. But of course, there's a lot of classic old ones that must be preserved. But check it out. Check out the Stadium Heads podcast, youtube.com/@StadiumHeadsSGPN. We talk about the history of college football and why, the history of each stadium and why it's the greatest thing to ever hit planet Earth. So check it out, folks. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. Till next time, folks, this is the College Football Experience, South Alabama, Jaguar style. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot.